Buonasera a tutti, welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming back at the Italian Cultural Society headquarters, for those of you who joined us here. And thank you and welcome to all of you following from your home. I'm thrilled to be here today with Justin Smith and to collaborate with Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America. Justin.
It's an honor to be here, not only with the Italian Culture Society of Washington, D.C., who's a good friend of ours in the area and a great partner and advocate for the Italian American and Italian communities here in D.C., but also with the fantastic institution of Georgetown University. So it's an honor, and we're, the subject today, Appi Giannini, is an icon in the Italian and Italian-American societies here. And he is someone who, we celebrate, in one of the earliest people that we had the honor and the privilege to, celebrate, put on a pedestal. So it's an honor for him to be the subject today, and someone that at OSDIA that we take great pride in. We've named some of our locations around the country, especially in California, after him. So it's an honor to be here today. So thank you, Francesca.
Thank you for joining us. And let me introduce you the two ladies on the screen. Martina Benedetti Marshall. Ciao Martina. And Daniele Guida.
Ciao a tutti.
Martina and Daniele are the translators of the book. And also you see the author, Giorgio Chiarva. Ciao Giorgio.
Ciao.
Thank you for being back with us.
Good day to everybody. We are next to the night, so I don't know how to welcome you. Ready to talk about Giannini, which is part of my time I spent in these last years.
Yes. So for those of you who didn't read some information about Giorgio Chiarva. Giorgio Chiarva has a degree in architecture, and for 40 years he has been an entrepreneur in the wood design industry. He also worked for a number of newspapers as a journalist and administrator. He published 2 volumes of short stories, and this is his first novel. He's now just finishing his second novel, Giorgio, right? You wrote a romanzo.
Yes, a second one is ready, and I'm writing a third one. And in January, I should publish a book for children, which is a completely new.
We talk about your next novels. Next.
Yes, next novel. for children.
Good. I'm very curious about it.
Poems and so on. So multitasking. I'm multitasking writer.
Yes. So today's event is organized also in collaboration with Georgetown University, Department of Italian. And I would like to thank Professor Donatella Melucci, who also sits on our board of directors of the Italian Cultural Society. Professor Melucci is a teaching professor at Georgetown University, where she also serves as co-director of the International Business and Culture Bachelor Program. Among our publications, we can mention Da Capo and Piazza, language textbooks for beginners and intermediate Italian. She's also a professional translator. Her last publication is Mistero a Matera, translation Murder in Matera, edited by Len Stapisky. A true story of passion, family, and forgiveness in Southern Italy. Published in Italy in November 2022. I will now to call you to join me, Donatella.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to this event, and we hope you enjoy it.
And I'm now glad to welcome here Professor Anna Lawton, the publisher of this book. Anna, before founding New Academia Publishing, was a professor of literature and cinema. She worked at the American Embassy in Moscow, and she was editor for a magazine, Development Outreach, at the World Bank in Washington, D.C. She directed the conferences, film festivals, and editorial projects for many institutions in the area. She published 3 scholarly books and 2 novels. Welcome, Professor Anna Lawton. I will give you my seat. And then everybody from home is welcome to write questions on the Q&A session and enjoy the talk.
Clap, clap.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to be here to be presenting with all my colleagues this wonderful book. And now I give the microphone to Professor Melucci.
Okay, so we can start with our interview to the author, Giorgio Chiarva, who wrote Il banchiere galantuomo, e abbiamo noi, we are translated into The Gentleman Banker. Giorgio Chiarva wrote a novel on this biography of Amadeo Peter Giannini. It's a fascinating story. It is really nice to read. It's a beautiful book, very pleasant reading. It talks about the story of this man from an Italian origin. He is a son of immigrants, and they moved to the area of, they moved to California, and what he did until he was, when he was a child, he was just was working with his father and then with his stepfather. He was a produce broker, basically, until until then he started working in a banking field, and then he opened this little bank, Bank of Italy in San Francisco. When there was the earthquake in San Francisco in 1906, he basically changed the history of banking. So we don't want to give too much away. We just want to give some interest to our readers, and hopefully you guys will want to read the book. So, Giorgio, my questions to you is how did you come to write the book? Why do we need to read the story of Peter Giannini?
This is a long story. I try to make it short, but I have a cousin near to cousin who is Giuliano Montaldo, a movie director, an Italian movie director, who is very well known also in US. He suggested to me to write a book on this gentleman. At that time I didn't know, or better, I knew, but not so much. And then he told me, look, don't focus on what else of banking, because banking is a cold story. So I try to focus on the innovative and modern aspect of his work, and because he made a changing in banking, but also in the common life the American society. So this is the reason. And when I started to check to know about him, the more and more I was interested, and I got deeply down. So it's a very nice history, very nice. And what is really different, it's very strange to understand is that he has been one of the monster of last century, but in Italy nobody knows him, which is quite. And he was from Italy. He felt Italian to be Italian, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Giorgio. And you actually used a very important word which represents the work of Amadeo Giannini. You said he was an innovator, and he truly was. Can you tell us what kind of innovation he brought to the banking world? Briefly, though, right? Because we want our audience to actually read the book. Yeah, what kind of innovation did they bring in the banking world?
Look, we should have more than one day to tell, but you see, again, I try to make short. He changed completely the way to banking. I mean, first of all, the Bank of Italy was what we in Italy is called Banca Popolare, a bank for people, which means a lot of shareholders instead of 5, 7, as it was the American bank. The CEO and assembly was a new system for banking, and more than this, he admitted poor people to bank credit with a very small amounts, which was not allowed with the other bank. And then he changed completely also his way to banking was made because he thought that the more the low-level population could grow, the more the country grow. So even if all these people were kept away from the American banks, he understood that the land, the country needed the poor people working, not just, and this is also the same reason why he introduced the immigration in work, and so I'm sorry for my English, but this history is really unbelievable. There is something very to learn about life and how to how to live.
Thank you, Giorgio. And yes, and if you read the book and you read the part of the after the earthquake, it's amazing to see how Amadeo Giannini lent money to poor people, and they all returned it to him. Like it was basically, there was no contract, it was on the word. They promised they would give it back, and they did. So it was a matter of trust. It was a matter of giving and receiving and then give it back. And this is actually one of the key factors of Amadeo Giannini, because he had a lot from this country, from the United States. And he believed in the people he worked with and the people who believed in him. And his contribution to the world is amazing. In fact, we see that he was involved in a lot of construction work, the Golden Gate in San Francisco, the movie business, and even after World War II, Giannini helped even Europe to grow. He actually financed the Marshall Plan. Not many people know about this. So it was a history of receiving and giving back. So can you tell us something about what he did in the construction world, the movie business? There are details that, you know, people like, before I read the book, I didn't know anything, and I was so proud of this person who has Italian heritage, and they gave so much to the American world.
Look, the list is absolutely unbelievable. Just to tell you, he was extremely active in prodigality. I mean, not only through the Bank of America, which at that time, in the middle of the century, was extremely powerful, but also with his personal wealthy. I mean, his earnings were not taken by the family, but he gave back to the country, to a university, hospitals, and so on, all his money. So at the very end of his life, when he died, he died in 1949. When he died, his wealth was $490,000, which was not a level of poor people, but you see, his enemy, J.P. Morgan, who died more or less in that years. When he died, he left 40 million, which were for them. There are in New York, there is a fantastic museum with his office, absolutely outstanding. When he died, this amount was left to the Giannini and Bank of America fund for the children, the employees' children of the Bank of America, which is a completely new new think, no, I don't know the word. So he left really more than what he did. I mean, a great bank, the largest bank in the world, the bridge, Hollywood, and the Marshall Plan, and really a number, an unbelievable number of things he did. He left also his how can I tell you, a part of his properties were left to the council. So more than this, I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, in fact, that's like the point was that he left his values to the American world, but the entire world. In Giorgio's book, we read how Giannini financed the movie business. He financed the movie, the Snow White movie, the Disney, and when Disney was not very popular. So we had to thank Giannini for believing in the work of Disney and producing Snow White. He also financed movies by Charlie Chaplin. And like I said, the building, the construction of the Golden Gate. So he was a man with a vision, and he believed in his vision, and he actually succeeded because he was able to accomplish a lot with his vision. But there is also something now still talking about innovation. Something about women, like Amadeo Giannini, it was really a man of the future. And he also helped women in the working field. Can you tell us what he did about women?
This was a part of his way to see the business, the future in the business. Obviously, the women were and are half of the world. So why not take also women to work? Because now we know everything about that. But in 1910, that was not an easy thought. It was extremely ardito. Come si dice ardito? But he did. He created a branch of the bank only for women, with women as workers, and in few months this branch became the best branch of the city. So, and 1 year later, in 1911, the state of California let the women vote. So was allowed to, which was at that time, California was the first state of US with the vote, how is called, il voto, vabbè, neanche in italiano, for everybody.
Yes, the right to vote also for women. Yeah, so again, you know, an innovator in every field. You mentioned before what he did for immigration. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Immigration. Immigration, first of all, I would tell you about immigration, because at the beginning of 1800, from Italy and from the European countries, several millions of people left to Americas, both South and North. At that time, in California, beginning of 1800, in California were about 1,000 natives, American natives, a few hundred Spanish soldiers. So was empty. California was empty. At the middle of 1800 started the gold rush. So a lot of people came, and 10 years later, the population was 20,000 people. I mean, the growth was absolutely unbelievable. In 1869, his parents left Italy to come to California, and he born in 1870. So Appi Giannini experienced the emigration and immigration on the skin of his family. So this is the reason why he overcome by welcoming immigrants in his business, because they were as his parents were. So there was a kind of friendly, and he understood that the immigrants were an extraordinary economic resource. So why not? And he did really a lot of things for immigrants, a lot.
Thank you, Giorgio. So if we want to conclude I would like to ask you, it's less from the part of my interview, what is Giannini's legacy today?
Everything. It's more or less all he did is still now part of our society. I mean, the immigrants. We are talking today about immigrants with a completely different view. Banking is what he created. We have this kind of banks also now. The way to but I would tell you something you don't know, nobody of you. Some time ago, I've been contacted by a journalist here in Italy, who gave me a letter from his daughter when he left the board of directors of Bank of America in 1984. She was 80, and he left the letter is astonishing, absolutely. He left because the board of directors of Bank of America forgot the learnings of his her father. So it was a letter very, very, very strong. So legacy, yes, but not Bank of America got what Giannini did. Now is probably left.
Thank you, Giorgio. Now, I would like to talk about how this book became also a book in English. I watched an interview that Giorgio did with the Italian Cultural Society years ago. And I knew about Giannini because I teach Giannini in one of my courses, Business Italian. So when we talk about bank, I am proud to present also Giannini. So when I saw that there was a book about Giannini, I said, okay, this is worth translating in English. So I asked Giorgio if he was interested, and he said that he was interested. So I involved two of my students. I also teach a course titled The Italian Translation. So I involved the two of my students to translate this book. So they took the course with me like maybe a year before, a semester before. And I asked, do you want to do this? They were super happy. And the students are Martina Benedetti Marshall and Danielle Guida. So we have them here with us on Zoom. And I would like to ask them what it was for you translating this book. The experience, what you learned about, because of course, maybe, probably, you didn't know anything about Giannini when I offered you this this work. So I don't know, does Martina want to start?
Sure. So hello, I'm Martina. I apologize for not being able to be there in person, but like Giorgio, I live in Europe, so Zoom was the option today, but nonetheless, I'm very happy to be able to participate, at least virtually. I am Italian and American, a bit like Giannini itself, so this translation was all the more interesting on a personal level as well. I really enjoyed working on this project because it allowed me to discover the fascinating story of Giannini, which, like Donatella said before, I was not at all familiar with beforehand. I found it incredibly rewarding to learn the history of Bank of America throughout the entire translation process. And I think that this personal interest in the plot made the translation all the more enjoyable. And I think, like we've been talking about, despite the story beginning in the 19th century, Giannini was a very forward-looking person in many ways. And much of the themes that we've been discussing are still incredibly relevant today, which made it all the more interesting for me to translate, but I think is also part of the reason why the novel is so relevant and appealing to readers today, especially in the US or among the American Italian community, as was mentioned in the opening remarks to the webinar. Also, I found that as a story about a move to America, the book really did lend itself to English translation. And as I was translating it, it felt a bit like a natural next step to complete this journey from Italy to the US in a figurative sense. So it was really an honor to be able to participate in this project and work on it and see Giannini's story come to life through the book's translation as well.
Thank you, Martina. And now let's hear from Danielle Guida. That's by coincidence. It was really a coincidence. Actually, she works for Bank of America. I didn't know when I offered her this translation. She said, you know what, I actually work for them. Okay. So Danielle, can you tell us your experience, please?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle. I'm calling in from New York, where I live and work for Bank of America. And when Professoressa Melucci asked me, all I knew about the project was that it was biographical. It was about an important Italian-American figure. When I said yes, and then I was thrilled to find out it was about Giannini. And I graduated from Georgetown in the spring of 2021. We did this translation over the summer of 2021. And then in the fall of 2021, I started my job at Bank of America. So it was like this perfect way to prepare for my first job out of college and learn more about the history of my company's founder. And it made me so proud to work there. And now when I look at these iconic things that we've discussed, like the Golden Gate Bridge or films of Chaplin and Disney, and I feel a personal connection to Giannini, and like my company plays a part in that history. And the book's themes of innovation and acceptance, especially with immigrants and women in the workplace. I look around my own office and I see so many immigrants who work there, women in very high positions of leadership at the bank now. And I think of how proud Giannini would be to see what it's like today. And it was an honor to be involved in this project. And thank you to Giorgio for telling his story.
Thank you, Danielle. I just want to take advantage of this opportunity to express my gratitude to Danielle and Martina, who did a fantastic job in translating this book. So I'm really, really grateful to both of you. I'm very proud rather than grateful. And so now I give the word to Anna, who has a question for Giorgio.
Well, first, let me say something about the publication of this book, right? And then I'll ask a question to Giorgio. As a publisher, I come in as the last chain, the last link of the chain, because the project started with Francesca, who first approached me and told me about this project, and then Donatella put the translation on my desk, and I started reading it, and I was totally engrossed by the story, like everybody else I know who read the book. The story of this extraordinary life of an extraordinary person, as we have heard, the son of poor immigrants who was able to change the history and the economy of the United States, and to become the most important banker in the world in his time. So I took a personal interest in this project, supervising the first stage of the process, the pre-production. But before we got to pre-production, there was a decision of the editorial board that was very easy. Actually, there was almost no discussion about it. It was approved unanimously. And it was then produced and released in record time, in 3 months or so. The fact was that I knew very little about Giannini, and I thought that the general public in the United States probably didn't know either. And it was a challenge for a publisher to put this story before the public. Now that I know that Danielle works for Bank of America, I hope that she would publicize it with her colleagues. But anyway, I was also interested in the manuscript when I saw it, and not just because of the story it tells, but because of its literary aspect. As a writer myself, I always think about the mental setup of an author. And so my question to Giorgio is, how, as an author, how did you create the persona of Giannini? Obviously, you consulted many sources in order to ascertain facts and the situations of his life, but we, on the pages, we see a living character, you know, with his feelings, with his emotions, relations to his family, associates, friends, and this is the work of the author, the writer, to create the man that we encounter on the pages. How did you do that?
Look, first of all, I would say that this history is absolutely true. It's a novel, but it's a novel made by true information, true story. So then when you have let's say a kind of a program, then you have to build the persona, the single person who, and there are a lot of books talking about his life, talking about the mood in this very moment, talking about the reaction, what he did against who, and so on. So obviously, in a novel, you can't let's say follow exactly what he did in his life, because otherwise you don't write a novel, you write a history book, you know, how it's called. No? So you have to make a sauce for the pasta. So the pasta is what you have, and then the sauce is what you give on to make the pasta more. But this is one of the no difficult things I had. The very difficult things I had was the news about the first part of his life. So from the family, the emigration of the family, till the Bank of Italy. Then there are thousands and thousands of pages, several books, and so on. But before Bank of Italy, it's very difficult. So there is a lot of sauce on few pasta in this period.
Thank you so much, Giorgio. I think I also want to thank Daniel and Martina for the excellent translation. And now, Donatello, maybe you have something else to add?
Yes, I would just to continue on the metaphor of the dish. It's a wonderful, very rich and exquisite dish. It's full of details. There is a lot of emotions. I really, really highly recommend to read this book. It could be a beautiful present for Christmas, for example. It's very well written. It doesn't read like a biography. It really reads like a novel, a beautiful novel. And I think now we can move on to our question and answers. Yes.
That's it. Non ce n'è? No questions. Q&A, yes.
Okay, we have a question from the audience.
Yes, my name is Luigi De Luca, and I was interested in what you had to say. And to add to the sauce, I would like to know what kind of what did his parents do? I mean, they came here as immigrants and they were employed probably at some point in some business. What did they do? And also, are there siblings of Amadeo? And what are they, what did they also get engaged in doing in the United States?
Non ho sentito. No.
Allora, dice cosa facevano i genitori di Amadeo e se ci sono fratelli e sorelle.
So the parents were Virginia and Luigi Giannini. Luigi died when Amadeo was 7. Then Virginia married another Italian.
They work in an hotel.
The son.
So he married, Virginia married Lorenzo Scatena.
Lorenzo Scatena, yes.
And he was a produce broker. He had basically a fruit market. And
Yes.
he started working with them. So did Giannini had siblings, a brother or sister, Giorgio?
He had a brother, Attilio, who died, but I don't know about his sons. So, but I haven't had because they were ill. So come si chiama la malattia del sangue?
Emofilia.
Emofilia?
Emofilia.
Sì.
Sono morti tutti. Come si dice emofilia?
Emofilia or leukemia.
Emofilia. So Mario died.
Non il secondo marito, il primo marito, the father. As soon as they arrived in San
Francesca
Francisco.
was asking if Giannini's father used to work in an hotel.
See, at the very beginning, the first days in the United States, how did they start? I forgot. Were they in an hotel?
He was, Luigi was first contadino, a farmer. And then he bought an hotel, the Swiss Hotel, called the Swiss Hotel, where Giannini, Amadeo born.
Yeah.
Amadeo born in this hotel, Swiss Hotel, come si chiama lì la città?
San Jose.
San Jose.
In 1870, yeah.
No, invece the daughter left, came in Italy all the years until she was 80. When last time he left here in Italy to this friend of mine, left the letter against the Bank of America board of directors.
Yeah, so we won't talk about it. But I know that, yes.
Other questions from the audience?
So you say that to some extent, Giannini also started like charity in California, Mid-America, and then was one, or at least one of those that started charitable tradition.
And Giorgio, so they're asking if Giannini ha cominciato qualche attività di beneficenza.
Sì.
First of all, the University of California. He financed the agriculture sector for I don't know how many years, and he gave millions of dollars. Then the Giannini and Bank of America Fund, as far as I know, it exists right now. So, Francesca, maybe you know better than me.
There is a foundation. Yeah.
So then other things. His wife was very active also, but I don't know the it's written somewhere. Yeah.
A question from the audience?
So, thank you for the presentation. I look forward to the book. I wonder why you chose to write it as a novel rather than a biography.
Chiedono, grazie per la presentation, come mai hai deciso di scrivere un romanzo invece che una biografia, a novel instead of a biography?
Because there were others, so one more was too much. So much better to write a novel, a book where you can read happily.
Originale.
Yes.
It's incredible what you said about, it's very exciting, what you said about the agriculture business in California. And as you probably know, there is a land grant program in the United States, which supports agricultural research throughout the United States, and nutrition research. And I'm wondering whether Giannini might have been one of the first ones to actually promote this land grant program that basically consists in giving grants to people who wanted to develop agriculture and to develop also animal husbandry as well.
Yes.
Hai sentito?
You are right. Sì.
Yeah, okay.
Credo di aver capito. Yes. Bank of Italy first, and then Bank of America was for years and years the first bank in California, not in all California, but roughly all California, with the grants for vineyards and cotton fields for years and years. So you are right. He was, and it's written. There is a book which is called the Bank, where there are every year and for every province, si dice province, of California, the ranking of banks giving come si chiama, loans for agriculture purposes. So there are pages and pages. This book is a big, it's like an encyclopedia, 1,000 pages, something like this.
Okay, so now we just have to read the book. When I read it in Italian, and here we have a few copies of the English version, and also online on our website there are instructions that you have here for whoever wants to buy it. Until tomorrow there is a special discount, $19, 20% discount on the book until tomorrow. So just write to the publisher. There are instructions here and on our website. So also Danielle, to your colleagues in Bank of America, I forward you these details. And so I think that before we, with the people joining us, we'll enjoy some refreshment brought by sons and daughters of Italy in America. Justin, thank you so much. So we can cheer to the holidays here together. And but also I want to remind our next appointment that is at the AFI, European Union Showcase in Silver Spring. There are 4 Italian movies, part of the European show. So in our website, there are the dates. So the first one, Chiarva, about the life of Saint Clare of Assisi, starts tonight. There is another evening with this movie. So there are 4 Italian movies there, and we have free tickets that we, like last year, we are happy to donate to our main donors. So last year, end of the year donation is open and to all of you. So then you contact our office and get these free tickets that are for you. And
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Giorgio. We'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Martina. Thank you, Danielle. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being connected from home. Happy holidays, everyone. And you will see this webinar on our YouTube channel, like all our past events are there. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We are social.
Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good holidays.
Ciao.
Merry Christmas.
Grazie,
Ciao,
buon
ciao.
Ciao Giorgio.
Ciao ragazze.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.